Good morning. Now I feel like I'm at the school, so good morning, everyone. You're supposed to say, good morning, Mr. Baldermann. That's how I Thank you. I want to be very respectful of your time. I know we're getting started early in the morning and you all have very busy days, so I want to say thank you all for coming out. As we do it at every village meeting, even though this isn't an official village meeting, I would ask that we all stand and say the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. And I think our village administrator wants to sing the national anthem. Is that right, Kurt? All right. Well, we'll get started here. I want to start out by saying, first of all, thank you to Silver Cross Hospital for hosting us. This is obviously a great facility. Yes, you can clap for Silver Cross. They're a wonderful place. I am here frequently. In the last 5 months, I've been here twice for surgeries, so it's nice to be down in the basement as opposed to up in a room. I've got my own personal team of doctors at Hinsdale Orthopedic. They've done the wrist, the elbow, the back, and the ankles, so I recommend them highly. I'm walking again, so they do a great job. But thank you to Silver Cross. Thank you to the Chamber of Commerce for hosting us here. Emily Johnson, who is also one of our village trustees, serves as the director of the Chamber of Commerce. It's amazing, and you'll see as we go through this PowerPoint just how busy the Chamber is here in New Lenox with all that they do to support our local businesses. And I have to say thank you to our Economic Development Director. Many of you know Nancy Dye. She served as a village trustee for many years and has now moved into this role, and really was a great choice that we made. We knew how talented she was, the community knew how talented she was, and she continues to show it every day. So Nancy, thank you for your efforts in this here today. The Village Board of Trustees. I am fortunate to work with 6 village trustees that really understand good government. Everything we do is out in the open, it's transparent. They will tell you that it's very infrequent that they get a phone call from me. We have our discussions on camera in front of the public. We do our compromising. Sometimes it's friendly, sometimes there's a little tension, but that's okay. That's what good government does. Quite often we come to a consensus so we can have a 7-0 vote, but we've got our 6-1s, our 5-2s, and when that vote is over, we move on. And so as the mayor, I get blamed for a lot of things that I don't even know about. I get credit for a lot of things that I didn't have a whole lot to do with. But the reality is in this town we get an awful lot of credit for what we do. And it starts with the board that I work with. So we have got trustees Smith, Butterfield, Finnegan, Bowden, Johnson, and Madsen. And I know many of them are in attendance here today, and I want to say thank you for all of your efforts. They really put in a lot of work. They do a great job. Our village staff starts with Kurt Carroll, our village administrator. He is in the back of the room. He does an excellent job of working with the department heads, and the department heads do a great job of working with the staff. As a board, we stand up there and we do what we think is best for the community. We make these policies that we think are really going to move New Lenox forward. But if we don't have an incredible staff, it stops right there. It stops right there. But it doesn't in New Lenox. It continues to move forward faster than just about anyone around, and that's because of our great staff. So thank you, Kurt, to you and all of our department heads and all of our staff. Obviously, in this year of elections, we see what's happening in the country, and I think that the tone at the national level certainly is one of anger. It's one that people are fed up with government. The government is not doing the right thing. They're not representing them. It's a lot of talk and very little action. The same can be said of what's happening down at the state level. But here, I can tell you as the mayor, and I'm in my 9th year as mayor, I have not had that problem. When I pick up the phone and I call our United States congressmen, I talk to them directly. When I talk to our state representatives, and I know we have both of them here today. Margot McDermott is here and Anthony DeLuca. Anthony, I know I saw you walk in. He's somewhere. There he is over there. And it's a Republican and a Democrat. And it doesn't matter to either one of them. What they care about is, what can I do for your people? That's what I get. And I have sat in a room with our Republican representatives and our Democrat representatives, and when they're in there with us, they're not bickering with each other. They're talking about providing constituency services to our residents. And we're very fortunate to have each and every one of them here in New Lenox. So thank you for what you do. I know times are tough down in Springfield. We all hope that they get better. There's a lot at stake for us as a local municipality. When it gets floated about local government distributive funds, that's the money that we use to provide services. And any time that that's on the block, we're going to be down there fighting to protect that money so we can continue to provide those services. But I know, as the mayor, that we've got strong allies representing us down in Springfield, so we appreciate that. Same can be said for our county board members. We've got Ray Tuminello and Tom Weigel are here doing an excellent job. Both of them served as village trustees. They know what our constituents want. They have served at that level and done a tremendous job, and now they're doing the same thing for us at the county, so we truly appreciate all of their efforts. You're getting the theme here. It's about partnerships, and it's really true. This is a community here where we don't have the infighting amongst the governmental bodies. We've got representatives here from the Park District, the Fire Protection District, the library, the townships. The township, Mike Hickey is here, I know, Dave Medema, our schools. This is what happens in New Lenox. People come together to solve problems. They realize that although it may be under someone else's jurisdiction or purview, if we can help in some way or another, we do. We pitch in, we work with each other. I see Lori Lindbergh from the from the New Lenox Historical Society here. She never lets us forget where we came from, and that's important. That's very important. I've been a resident here since 1994, 22 years, which by many people's standards, I'm a newbie. When I came out here, there were 10,000 people in town. We've got over 26,000 now in the village. So, you know, 2.5 times, we've really grown in just the 22 years that I've been here. But we have to remember where we come from. We have a lot of people that have been out here for generations. And when towns grow and expand, that's not always easy. People remember the farms and being able to ride your bike down Route 30 and not having to worry about anything. And that growth is sometimes tough. So as a board, we have to remember that, and we have to be cognizant of that and be respectful of that. And there's a good group of people at the Historical Society that, and we miss Diane Batson, that's for sure. She did a great job of that too. But that will remind us, that will give me a scolding every once in a while if we're headed in the wrong direction. So we do appreciate that. So we're going to get started here, but I want to say too that New Lenox has great residents. They really do. And a lot of those residents volunteer their time to our community. Our CERT team that comes out and helps out in all these events. We've got commissions, you know, our PTAB and all these different plan commission, all these people. It's made up of volunteers and of people that are giving of their time to make New Lenox a great place. When we talk about being the home of proud Americans, we really mean that. That means something. That's not just some slogan that was put on us in 1946. That's something that we live today, and we'll talk about that as we get through some of these slides too. So, Nancy, we'll get started here. New Lenox is growing. There's no doubt about that. Our population as of December was 26,416. 162 housing permits were issued in 2015. 162. 6 years ago, we were at 24. So there's no doubt that when that housing bubble burst, it affected all the communities, but we are bouncing back nicely. And that's without sacrificing quality. That's without sacrificing quality of our building standards and what we demand here in town. We also had 4 new building permits issued as of December. Now that doesn't seem like a whole lot, but we're talking about coming out of the ground. Coming out of the ground. That's a big deal in a town like ours. That's not somebody moving into an existing space. It's brand new, new tax dollars for the other taxing bodies, coming out of the ground, new jobs, new amenities for our community. Okay, Nancy, thanks. We are the #1 town in Will County for construction permits. That's according to the U.S. Census, 162. Joliet, 147. You can see the list there. #1 in all of Will County. What's new? I won't even start to read off the businesses. We had 40 new businesses open next year. Now think about that, a population of 26,000 people, and of course we've got surrounding residents that support those businesses. 40 new businesses. That means roughly every 9 days a new business opened in New Lenox. And many of them join the Chamber of Commerce. They get together, they network, they support each other. We've got some great small local businesses that have opened in town. We love seeing the big boxes. I know a lot of people love seeing the big boxes. It means sales tax, it means additional property tax. But we've got great little boutiques and great little stores that open. Many of them are owned by residents or people who live nearby. And our town does a great job of supporting them. So have a look at some of those businesses. 40 new businesses here. What else is coming? Route 30 in Cedar. We had a lot of discussion as a village board and a staff about what do we do next here in town. Obviously, here at Route 6 in Cedar, what was initially a decade ago planned to be 2 million square foot of retail, quite frankly, in this day and age, that's not realistic. It's not going to happen. I'll tell you right now. There will be retail, there will be hotels, there will be restaurants, but 2 million square feet of retail, some of which was the old traditional retail, it doesn't happen. It doesn't happen anymore, especially now with all the online shopping and everything that happens. So we've got to be realistic. We are excited to see our medical campus grow and everything that happens there. I'm happy to be known as the mayor of the town that provides the best quality health care around. That's a great thing to have. But we will get our shops and we will get our restaurants and our hotels up here. But we look now at the main drag, Route 30. What can we do to really improve the heart of our community? So we saw a building that had sat vacant for years, a small little bar that one more good wind and it would have been knocked over, an underperforming gas station because of the access there, and a nice little dry cleaner that did a good job over there. And private developers had attempted to make that work, redevelopment work, and they just couldn't get the dollars down. So we stepped in. We made a move. We made an investment in our community. We were able to secure the property for $1 million less than private developers were. There's no TIF. Everyone's getting their money. No TIF district at all. We moved in, and now we're happy to say that we've just finalized our contract with CVS that will go there, and we have a letter of intent with the private developer that's going to build an 8,400 square foot building that's going to have Durbin's. And if you go on the Durbin's restaurant site for Mantino, you'll see what they're going to offer on their menu. They started out years ago as a pizza place. Now they've got filet and New York strip and pork chops and seafood, and it's a great restaurant that's going to go there. Fleckenstein's Bakery. Everybody knows about Fleckenstein's. Fleckenstein's over in Mokina does an incredible business. Ray Fleckenstein lives here in New Lenox and wants to make an investment in his hometown, and we are really excited to have him there. And Zembar Jewelers, who is located currently over at Francis and Cedar, wanting to come to the heart of the community, a great jeweler over there wanting to move out to Route 30, so we're excited to see that happen. There may also be an additional business up there. There's some talk that they may want to bring one more store in there, but we're going to have to run that through Robin Ellis in the plan department to see if there's adequate parking. I'll tell you what else it does up there, is it gives us the opportunity to build a new train station. Again, the Historical Society recognized the value, and I don't mean monetary value, but the value of the history of that train station that had been there forever. Because it's a historical landmark, we can't go in and completely rehab the train station. So therefore, but I will tell you, it's probably the most rundown train station on the line, and that's not a good thing. That's not something you want to be known for. So we are working with Metra. We're going to take the sales tax dollars that are going to be generated by this redevelopment at Route 30 and Cedar, and we're going to build a new train station. And our hope is, as we have to work through Metra with this, that we can get started on that sometime next year and hopefully have it open, if not in 17, 18. That's our goal. What else is coming? Five Guys. I'm just mentioning that for myself. Next to the Lifetime Fitness, but we're also going to have an Anytime Fitness. I guess that's kind of an interesting screen there. But you see what we have coming there. We've got Arrowhead Ales coming. MFE, Murphy Oil is going to open a new gas station between the Aldi and the White Castle. America's Best Eyeglasses and Newmark Credit Union that have got representatives here. That great bank space that was at the corner of Route 30 and Marley and will now be Newmark Credit Union, so we're excited to see them. Now, there was a lot of conversation about that empty land that is east of the firehouse on Route 30. We were approached by high-end apartment developers that wanted to build. They wanted to put 312 apartments in there. It was too much. It was too much. We realized that we have a need for high-end apartments where you can have perhaps empty nesters that want to stay close to their grandkids, where you have young couples that take the train that aren't ready for a house yet. But 312 units was far too many for that area. So we negotiated with them, and without them cutting back again on any of the quality, on any of the high standards, building standards that we insisted on, keeping the clubhouse that they're going to have, we settled at a total of 208 units in 3 different buildings, plus a clubhouse that will go over there. I think that that's important for a few reasons. Not only to provide a different type of housing stock, but it's also big when we have restaurants and developers that are coming to our community to see that that type of activity is taking place. Now, we talked about the redevelopment on the northeast corner of 30 and Cedar. There's a lot of Route 30 that needs to be redeveloped. That doesn't mean that some of the existing businesses don't stay, but we really need to clean that up. We really need to make Route 30 look great. It doesn't have to be all new and brick and shiny. I mean, like I said, we've got some great little boutiques on Route 30 that are outstanding, that are a great asset to our town. They really blend in well. But there are some areas that we need to clean up. There's no doubt about that. And as we make these moves, we get a lot of interest from private development that comes in that wants to be a part of that, that wants to bring redevelopment and new amenities to our community. Okay. Now, it's important that we learn from others. Like many of you in this room, I'm sure, You know, I started out on the south side of Chicago and just kept moving south and south and south and south and landed here in New Lenox. And what we saw happen in a lot of other communities is that growth came so fast that they weren't prepared with the infrastructure. So the businesses are there, the homes are there, now you start working on roads. Well, that's a tough thing to do. And in some places you see those roads are constantly under construction, which makes it really difficult. We try to stay ahead of that here in New Lenox. We have committed, since we've been a home rule community, in the area of $1.5 million a year on improving local roads. That means that our goal is that every residential side street's replaced every 20 years, which is about the life of a residential side street. Because it's important not just to take care of the main roads, but the roads in front of your home. So we do that. Nelson Road. People have been clamoring for Nelson Road to go through for years. Access north to south. We have finally made a deal with the developer. Nelson Road will be constructed this year. We are working on, go ahead, thank you. We are working on, the last hang-up is the pipes that are out there, the pipelines that are out there, and exactly where the road has to go. We've got to get permission from them. But once that's settled, that road's going to go in. So the hope is before the snow flies, which in Chicago could be June, but before the snow flies, you're driving on that road this year. That's our hope. Quiet zones. Quiet zones now are in place, or will be, on the southwest service tracks off Laraway Road. The Route 30 is a little different situation, especially building the new train station, but we continue to work on that. And the Gauger Road overpass. Since the Canadian National acquired the EJ&E, there has been an increase, obviously, in train traffic. And to be candid with you, as the economy gets better, there will be more train traffic, which is good and bad. When engineers looked at the potential places for crossing, you know, you might say, well, why don't you do it at Cedar Road, or why don't you do it so? It does, engineering-wise, the most logical place was Gauger Road. Fortunately for us at the village, that's a county road, so we're asking them to pick up the $40 million tab on that. So Ray and Tom will expect that out of you soon. But what we did do in our working with Canadian National was acquire $500,000 to do a study on that, which we've done. Now everybody is in agreement that we need that overpass. So we're looking at potential funding levels, and we're working with our federal representatives and all of our representatives to see what we can do to get that accomplished. It's a big task. I'm not going to sit up here and tell you it's going to happen anytime soon. That's a big price tag. But we realize the importance of it, and we're working on it. Thank you. Locally, what are we doing? As we talked about, we care about our local merchants. We care about what's happening in our small businesses as well. Shop New Lenox, which is no cost to our businesses, is an online directory where local businesses can advertise by inserting special sales and coupons. Job openings can also be posted. It's nice to see job openings posted on a local site. People are always looking for work. Celebrate and Shop New Lenox, an annual event held between Small Business Saturday, that's after Thanksgiving, and the first Sunday in December. We send out brochures, post on Facebook and our website about participating businesses and their holiday specials. Last year, 45 businesses were touted in the event. Notice New Lenox is a Channel 6 television program. And Don Winnie, who puts in more hours than I do, I don't know how he does it, but overseeing Channel 6 with a great group of volunteers, we host this program where we can spotlight local businesses. People watch Channel 6. There are people who have switched from Comcast to the Dish, and then they realize that they can't get that local channel, and they come back. I'd like to say it's because of the excitement at the village board meetings, but it might be because of kids' football. But whatever it is, there's a lot of viewership on Channel 6. And so it's another way that we can help spotlight those local businesses and the job fair. We work with the chamber. The job fair included 600 job seekers last year, 54 employers, and it's relocating to New Life Church this September 15th. Great schools. I think this is important. The majority of the people that have moved out here over the last 20-some years state primarily they moved out because of the schools. And we have got an outstanding grade school district. There's a private school option in St. Jude that does a wonderful job. If you're fortunate enough to live on the far west end of town, you can attend Union School, where they have got a superintendent that just knocks it out of the park. Providence Catholic, which is known, of course, for their athletics, but also provide a great academic experience, and Lincoln Way High School District. And I have to touch on that. Lincoln Way High School District provides an outstanding academic experience for their students. Always has and always will. And despite what you read, as the mayor, it's my business to get involved in all of these groups to help make everything run as smoothly as it possibly can. And I want to stand up here and tell you that Scott Tingley, the superintendent of Lincoln Way, is an outstanding superintendent and an even better man. And he is handling an unfortunate situation right now with a great deal of poise and class, and I appreciate that. He represents us very well, as does everyone in Lincoln Way. It's a tough situation, and when you talk about kids, emotions run high. We're talking about dollars, and dollars are important. There's no doubt about it. But the one thing that we never talk about when it comes to any of our schools is the quality of education that they receive. It is second to none. Second to none. We talk about all of this growth and all of the great things that are happening there, and our school districts are a huge reason as to why we're able to do these things in New Lenox. So I ask them to continue to hang tough and do the great things that they're doing. We greatly appreciate what you do for our community. Thank you. Healthcare. Silver Cross Hospital. Presence St. Joe Healing Arts Pavilion. Rehabilitation Institute of Chicago. University of Chicago Oncology. Anna Robert Lurie Children's Hospital. These are all things that have happened in the last 6, 7 years here in New Lenox. People no longer have to travel downtown to get quality health care, life-saving health care. They come right here to New Lenox. We are going to continue to pursue quality health care. We all love to shop, we all love to eat, and when our in-laws come, we want to have a hotel to put them in. I get it. You'll have it. But when this Silver Cross campus was coming here, and there were those that said, Mayor, don't support that. That should be a mall that's going to produce big sales tax dollars. There was zero hesitation in my mind and in the mind of our board members that this was the best thing we could do for our community, and it certainly has been. There's a tremendous amount of interest in this area for those other projects, as I talked about. But in this still fragile economy, and when you're talking about the millions and millions of dollars that it costs to invest in putting a shovel in the ground to build something that large, and in an era where many businesses are either just holding on to what they have or rehabbing existing structures because it's a lot cheaper than coming out of the ground, we still have tremendous interest in this area. And it won't be long before it pops here. But I'll tell you, every time I hear about additional quality health care that wants to come here, I get excited. It's great. If that's what New Lenox ultimately, when we grow to 70, 80, 90, 100,000 people, is known for, I'm okay with that. I'm more than okay with that. But for right now, what we're known for is the Triple Play Concert Series. I'll tell you, I was fortunate last year to be reelected to a third term, and with the members that I serve with on the board. And we have got very intelligent, great people in this town. But for every question I got about when is my street going to be repaired, I got 5 questions about who's the opening act. What are the dates? And that's a great thing, because what that Triple Play Concert Series is, what the Christmas in the Commons is, Ladies' Night Out, it's bringing our community together. You know, I certainly don't have all the answers. I wasn't born with all the answers. My parents raised me to be smart enough to keep my ears open and listen. And one of the things that I learned from Trustee Bowden, who is here, that she stressed, and sitting next to her former administrator, Russ Lobe, was, it's true though, we don't want to lose that small town feel. And that's a difficult thing to do when you grow as quickly as we do. But like it's important to us to remember our history, it is important to keep that small town community feel. And this is what we do in the Commons. We gather. It's a big block party. That's why tickets are for sale for residents only. Now, it's not that we don't want others coming to our town. We know they get them anyway. Somebody knows someone and they buy them for them. But we like to take care of our own. We like to gather as a group. And we're not going to talk about what's happening this year. But I will tell you, it's coming along nicely, and we'll be announcing it soon. But it's a great success, and a lot of people pitch into to make it successful, and we're going to continue to do that. Finally, Home of Proud Americans. I told you that's not just a slogan for us. Unfortunately, our Veterans Memorial in the Commons, as you all know, it got national attention, was vandalized. And as I often do, going off on a tangent on a soapbox, it wasn't vandalized by somebody that was anti-American or anti-New Lenox. It was somebody who had a mental illness, something that we don't deal with enough in this community, not only in this community, but in this country. We neglect it far too often. But the community and those beyond our community really pitched in, because we are so proud and grateful for the service that our veterans have given us and those that are serving right now do to protect us and to protect the freedoms that we have. Everybody pitched in. The VFW is a huge part of it, the American Legion. And now we not only restored that memorial, it's been enhanced. If you haven't been out there and seen it, please do. Please do. If you haven't been out there for a ceremony that we hold there, please come out. Not only to give our respects to those in service, but just to see what a wonderful, remarkable memorial it is. It's right across from the police station in the Commons. We're very proud of it, and we're very grateful for everybody that stepped up and made that happen. So again, wanting to be respectful of your time, that is the presentation that I have for this morning, and I am more than happy to answer any questions that any of you have. Mr. Walter, if you watch Channel 6, Bill is a regular. 10, 20,
Mr. Mayor, I have a list.
I know you do.
With your reworking of Cedar in the Route 30 area in downtown, has there been any thought into wastewater treatment plant 1, And I know you're putting a lot of funds into wastewater treatment too on the south end because of all the development there. But wastewater treatment plant number 1 takes care of most of the town. Is there a 5-year plan, a 10-year plan? What is the plan?
Yes. You know, sometimes we have to do things in local government that's not popular. We talk about raising our sewer rates. When we had a conversation as a staff and as a board, we said, look, we've got a problem at wastewater treatment plant 1. It's been a problem for years. And what happened for years is before the town grew, the staff did the very best they could with the resources that they had to eliminate some of those issues that existed down there. Well, we are in a position now, and not that people want to pay more in their sewer rates, but we had to make a decision. Do we fix these problems once and for all, or do we Band-Aid and Band-Aid and Band-Aid? Well, the board and I felt that you've got to do the right thing. You've got to maybe pay $1 today instead of $0.25, but you're saving $10 in the future. So we do have, that money is going to be allocated to making changes and improvements to that water plant, wastewater treatment plant as well. Now, we are also looking at the possibility of consolidating and moving, but that is a major, major expense. A major expense. And we could be talking $50-some million to make something like that happen. So right now, we're making improvements that if we don't do that, it will correct the issue. Yes. Lori.
All right.
We just want to note that this is the 70th anniversary of the Village of New Lenox on October 4th.
Yes, October 4th. Thank you. The 70th anniversary of New Lenox, October 4th. Thank you for that, Lori, of the incorporation. That's great. Party at Lori's house. Bill, go ahead. You had something else you want to ask?
The board has approved new water mains for Cedar Road, both north and south, from 30, also from 30 to Veterans Parkway to Cedar. Is that to be done this year or next year?
Well, we're getting the plan. It's a little bit longer range. I think with 17, 18, we're looking in that area. Those water mains have been in for a long time, 50, 60 plus years. And what we see is more frequent water main breaks. And when that happens, that not only affects traffic, but it affects local business that has to shut down. And so that's another one of those issues that we talked about. We can't Band-Aid. This town is going to continue to grow. Let's take care of those issues right now so they're good for the next 50 years, rather than waiting for 20 more thousand people to come up and then we're tearing up roads. So we are going to be taking care of them in the very near future. Next.
We on the south end would like to thank you for Nelson Road. We've been fighting it for 20 years. We appreciate it very much.
Yes, well, thank you.
Anything new on the S-curve on Cedar and Haven?
Yes, all right, the S-curve at Cedar and Haven. As you know, many years ago, the village acquired some property there. Realistically, as I've said before, there's never any accidents there. And that's because everyone just stops and stares at each other. So you can't get in an accident if you're standing still. But yes, but what we're hoping, any time that private development can make those improvements for you, you prefer for that to happen. Now that we've made this redevelopment happen on the north side of 30 and Cedar, we have a private developer that's interested in making a lot of changes on the south side of Route 30 from Cedar headed east. Part of that would include having them make the improvement to that S-curve. So if we can get private development to pay for that, that's the preference. Okay?
Last time.
Hold on one second, Bill. Go ahead, yes.
What's going to happen to those homeowners there?
Well, obviously we'll work with those people. Anytime there's any redevelopment, you have to work with the existing businesses, homeowners, you have to see, but there's nothing that's going on right now. But when that happens, everybody gets a seat at the table. Go ahead, Bill.
Last one. Are we all dreaming, or is Menards going to happen?
Well, Menards. The question was about Menards. Obviously, as you know, when all of that was originally planned, the housing market was booming, the bubble burst. Menards, very smart business plan, obviously. When we're down to 24 housing starts and we're leading the way with 24 housing starts, it doesn't make sense for Menards to open up their store. They have decided to not move forward in other areas, but have contacted New Lenox and said that they are still very interested in moving forward here. Now, does that mean that we're on schedule for next year? That's our hope, but I certainly wouldn't say that that's a guarantee, but we're in the game. Menards realizes the value of coming to New Lenox. That's why they're keeping that site and wanting to still develop here. But I understand their business model, I do. And to be perfectly candid with you, we have a Lowe's that does a great business, and had Menards come in at that time, they would have been cannibalizing and it wouldn't have been successful. So we understand that. New Lenox is going to be around a lot longer than me or anyone else that serves on this board. And so when we make these decisions about developing or redeveloping, we think about the legacy, what's going to happen in the future. Route 6 and Cedar hereby, we could have developed and redeveloped this area 15 times with strip malls. But this is prime real estate, is the prime real estate in Will County. We said, no, we're going to wait. We're going to wait because it's not about getting that single today. It's about getting that home run tomorrow. And so we'll wait for the Menards. Next, yes.
I have a question. As you're touching upon the 6 and Cedar area,
Yes.
For many years, for over 20 years, it was designated as the hotspot of New Lenox. That was the premise of moving 355 from Galga Road to here, was so New Lenox could collect the tax base on the commercial coming in.
Yes.
Just about a quarter mile north of here, they're condemning property for making 7 lanes, 6 lanes along Cedar, right past the S-curves for the bridge, for the premise that eventually it's all going to be 7 lanes. What is the slowdown now? I mean, originally this was all supposed to be box malls. I understand how economy fell. I was part of that whole situation up there years ago and still am. What do you project is going to happen, and what are you saving for when we were originally supposed to be the area that was the hotspot?
Okay, so the question was, what are we waiting for Route 6? What are we hoping that will happen here? Again, originally, there were a couple of different retail centers, a lifestyle retail, a traditional retail. Each one was going to be about 1 million square foot. Now, that was back in 2002, 2003, 2004, that was starting to be talked about. As I said, since then, and I think you all realize that the traditional mall that we were all used to, that's not being built very much anymore, and that's what one of those centers was. Lifestyle malls are being built. We're going to get shopping. If I had to guess, and it would be purely a guess, of realistically what I think will end up being out here, you're going to see over 1 million square feet of retail that's going to come out this way. But some of that projected retail is being replaced with medical. Some of it's going to be hotel, restaurant. So there's going to be a great deal of traffic that's going to come to this area. It's just going to be a different type of traffic. The amount of cars that drive down at Route 6 and Cedar right now, do you have that number? I'm going to ask you. I know we had it, Robin. Do you know? A day. We had the projection of how many cars are coming down 6. It was
125,000?
Well, not a day, but I can't remember, 10,000 a day of cars that have come through. So we already have that now with just what's here. So that expansion of the roads is going to be necessary in order to accommodate that. That's not something that we make a determination of. We have to deal with the Illinois Department of Transportation and Toll Highway Authority. And they tell us what has to be built over here. Based on what's coming, they tell us what type of roads have to be built. Oh, sure, go ahead, ma'am.
So what do you do with road business in this corner area at this point?
Well, we're constantly, We are out at the shopping convention shows. We are constantly promoting this area. It is an extremely hot property. CB Richard Ellis now has come out and is working on the south side, working to promote the area. But again, what we hear a lot of is, well, if this one puts the shovel in the ground first, I'll do it next. And that's a major, major investment. And again, we understand that. We completely understand that. But when I say that we're waiting for the right property, I can get strip mall developers right now to litter Route 6 and Cedar with strip malls. No way. No way. We're not doing that. So we will wait for some of those bigger retailers, restaurants, and hotels to come. Okay?
I'm sorry. So if you're doing it with the strip malls and the Lenox on 30, is it because it's more massive amount of property around 6 that they're waiting for?
Yes, it's because you've got, that's the one benefit of New Lenox when it comes to this area is we can put a tremendous amount of traffic, a regional destination draw at Route 6 and Cedar, and the majority of the people will be coming from 80 or 355, not driving through town. Now, it's a great amenity for the local people to drive through town to get there, but the majority of the people will be coming off 80 and 355, not causing traffic congestion. If you look at some of the communities to the north of us that have got a lot of retail and restaurants, they're not as fortunate as we are. You've got to drive through the main drag in their town to get to that shopping. Here, you get right on, right off. Next. You're welcome, thank you. Yes, Bill.
With both being Palm and Arabian here, is there anything going on with Cedar Road in our town? I know they're working on Cedar Road on the north end, but what about the feeder from our town into 355?
Are you talking about
Our Cedar.
Cedar Road?
Or Cedar, North 30.
Yeah, I don't know. Go ahead.
With regard to the county, we're going to have some news come out in 2016 with the development of Laraway and Cedar,
Right.
as well as Spencer and Cedar, or Spencer and Laraway. We're in litigation right now, so I can't discuss that, but once that's settled, the money's already been set aside for the full intersection improvements on a couple of those intersections.
Right, and you see 6 and Parker's getting going.
Yep.
Yes.
North Cedar is supposed to be 5 lanes from Francis Road all the way to 159th Street and Homer Glen eventually, but that's 10 or 20 years off. It's in the plans, but it's going to be when traffic starts to pick up.
That's right. At this time, it doesn't even make sense to expand that. Next. Yes.
Is the rumor true that you've actually found Elvis Presley and he's going to be at the Triple Play concert?
Yes. Buddy Holly? The Big Bopper and Elvis. That's your triple play. All right, anything from anyone else? Yes, ma'am.
I'm Mrs. Cochran, and my son is a student at Lincoln Way West.
Yes.
I have a daughter that also graduated from Lincoln Way West. And anyways, my husband is a veteran, and we moved here, I think, about 8 years ago. Great town. But my question is, for handicap parking for the businesses,
Okay.
how does that work on how many handicap parking signs,
Yes.
you name it,
Yes.
go in? I had an incident, I think it was last year or the year before, with sports, with my son as well as my daughter, but I was at a park district, and of course there was not enough handicap parking to do myself, and I was ticketed because I parked, I guess I don't know, the
On the yellow lines there?
Yeah, and I know I wasn't the only one doing that, but of course I was ticketed. Of course I did the right thing and paid $25 or however, but
Sure.
how would we go about that? How do they determine that?
Well, and again, depending on where you're at, if you're in the village limits, remember, some of the schools, some of the other places are not actually in the village, but in the village, we have a set number of handicap parking spaces. Is it based on square footage, Robin, and the type of business?
It's based on the number of parking spaces in the lot as well as the uses. So
You're right.
certain medical uses require more.
Right, so we do, and we can get you that information. So if you contact Robin at the village, she'll be able to provide you with that ordinance.
Two quick questions.
Yes.
Are we getting any buffets, like Golden Corral, or, you know, I like to eat, but,
Well, go to Lori's party. There's none of that I can announce today that I'm aware of. But.
And my third question is, if, for example, I saw somebody in a handicap spot,
Yes.
the person was sitting in their car, and they probably were there a good hour. But what I found was there was another, probably family member, however, went to a restaurant, got what they needed, their sandwich or whatever, came back in the car, then left. So I ended up parking in another spot.
Right.
What do I do in that case?
Well, I mean, if you don't feel comfortable asking the person to move, you can call the police and they'll go over and ask them to move out of the spot. Thank you. Of course, thank you. Yes.
I have a question regarding the new train station.
Yes.
Do you know if it's going to be built farther east?
Yes. The new train station is going to be built farther east down the line, closer to where the majority of the parking is.
Okay, so then it will probably eliminate stop trains at...
That's the hope. Yes, that's when we talk about the quiet zone possibilities for Route 30, and there are other issues that arise with that, but the hope is that when we move that train station further down to the east, the train will clear Cedar, and so the gates won't be blocking. Absolutely. That would be a big help. Yes. Okay. Any other questions? All right, well, again, a big thank you to Silver Cross and to the Chamber for hosting and putting this on, and to all of you for taking time out of your busy day. We appreciate all you do to make New Lenox such a great community. Thank you. Have a great day.